Here we go. Another change of pace sports episode. We're gonna go with the mid-season NFL report. Breakdown of the NFL season. It's your host K with your co-host Mouze.
What's going on?
The NFL season's been very interesting, man. A lot of things been going on.
Yeah. It's been an intense season.
Yeah.
We got a couple of undefeated teams.
Yeah. The Antonio Brown saga.
Yeah. A couple of big trades.
Correct. Josh Gordon got cut.
Oh yeah, getting picked up by by Seattle.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's gonna be interesting.
But we're gonna get into a lot of the biggest factors, a couple of different topics and points so far. For the first half of the NFL season, before we get into our topics and points, just run over who's been really winning, who's been dominating, go through the division leaders in the AFC and the NFC. So in the East, for the AFC East, the Patriots are the leader there at 8-0. In the NFC East, it is the Dallas Cowboys at 4-3. In the AFC West, we have the Kansas City Chiefs lead that division at 5-3. And in the NFC West, we have the San Francisco 49ers at 8-0. In the AFC North, we have the Baltimore Ravens leading that division at 5-2. And in the NFC North, we have the Green Bay Packers leading that at 7-2. In the AFC South, we have the Houston Texans leading that at 6-3. And in the NFC South, we have the New Orleans Saints leading that at 7-1. So we'll just probably go back and forth with our five biggest points so far for the first half of the season. We'll start off with your first one.
Yeah, sure, no problem. What I would like to know is the 49ers. Like is that team for real? Is that gonna be that team? They're undefeated now. Can they keep that up? Probably not, but can they keep that momentum and probably push to a Super Bowl? Are they this real Super Bowl team, or are they just been playing against maybe lower cast? Not lower cast because it's still NFL teams. I'm not gonna say in that sense, but they haven't played. They haven't really been tested against certain super teams. They did play against the Rams, but I do have speculation, especially around that time. So I just wonder. Kyle Shanahan, though, he is a good offensive mind. He worked under John Gruden and his father as well, and he did do that good. He did do good with the Atlanta Falcons.
Right, Ryan.
Yeah. So that with that Super Bowl run, even though they did have that unfortunate 28-34 lead, come back in the fourth.
Yeah, New England Patriots.
Yeah, that was
getting it done. Gotta play the whole game.
Yeah, that's true.
60 minutes.
This 49ers team on that defense, they're just led by the rookie. What's Nick Bosa?
Correct.
7 sacks in the season. They're just what's his name? Brockner, and I think they did lose Kawan Alexander, but their defense is playing so well. But offensively, I've seen them get in their groove, and especially with that trade with Emmanuel Sanders, that midseason trade that they made. I've seen them having a good connection right now with Jimmy G and Emmanuel Sanders. I think there's one play where it was just a timing route, and the fact that he's been there just less than a week, and they're having that connection, that sometimes makes a difference in certain games, especially when you need that person. You already have that superstar tight end and Kittle, whose numbers doesn't show it right now because in his first earlier games, a lot of penalties have been brought back. But you can see how they've matured, and they're still a young team. I think this is their third season as a head coach right now.
Yeah, I believe so.
So you can see them maturing, and they could probably become one of those next up and coming teams.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. I do think they're for real. The team that I kind of compared the San Francisco 49ers rendition to, as a native New Yorker, to the early Giants team, the team that actually, the year before they won the Super Bowl against the undefeated Patriots, the year before that Giants. They had a very young quarterback, Eli Manning. I believe it was his third or fourth year in the league. And they were predicated on their defensive front. They had elite defensive linemen, and they actually had a pretty good offensive line. So they were built off of their line, had a very good running game, and they had an extremely talented defensive front with Kiwan Yuka, OC, Justin Tuck, and Michael Strahan. They were just very talented in that. In the same way the 49ers are built, they have a very good offensive line. They have a young quarterback that is definitely talented enough to be a starter, but nobody's exactly sold on him being an elite quarterback. And they have a defensive front that is built off elite pass rushers. So I see a similar kind of team where maybe this year they make it to the playoffs, but they show that they're here, and maybe next year they might be in the Super Bowl for sure.
Exactly.
With this type of situation together, where the GM, the coach, the quarterback, the defense, it seems to be on one accord. They're all kind of moving in the right direction.
Yeah, that's very.
I would say like they could still win a Super Bowl this year if the cards kind of fell the right way.
Yeah, it could. Anything can happen in the NFL. That's true because they have been going up this winning streak without their starting left tackle and right tackle. So even there, everyone gets plagued with injuries, and you can see if they're at full strength, they probably could be even better. So yeah.
So my first topic would be my 5 Super Bowl contenders. After the first half of the year, I identified just 5 teams that I think clearly are going to be in the play for the rest of the year and being possibly winning the championship this year, possibly winning it all. So quickly, my honorable mention is the Baltimore Ravens. I do feel like with the talented defense they had, with the trade to add Marcus Peters, and the way that Lamar Jackson, I believe, will continue to mature and grow, they will be very deadly to beat in any given Sunday kind of format in the playoffs. But I don't think they're quite there yet. So let's start off with number 5. I got the Seattle Seahawks. I think with Russell Wilson, a defense that's improving every week, an offense that's getting more comfortable with the new pieces there. Pete Carroll being one of the better coaches in the league, I think the Seahawks definitely have a chance with a home field advantage to probably make it to the Super Bowl. Number 4, I do have the San Francisco 49ers. I can't sneeze at the 8-0 start. Nick Bosa was considered the best player in the entire draft, and he's proven to be that way. He goes with another elite pass rushers up and down that entire defensive line. Jimmy G, I feel like is a capable starter. Like he can make the plays, and he's only gonna get better. And he came from under Tom Brady. That's a big thing that his mentor was Tom Brady. He got a chance to be behind a Super Bowl champion quarterback, almost like Steve Young to Joe Montana. Gives you a great chance, almost like Phillip Rivers to Drew Brees, Eli Manning to Kurt Warner. It gives you a huge leg up when you get a chance to start behind a superstar, a winning quarterback. So I see Jimmy G actually being able to win some playoff games or be a talented or a worthwhile quarterback in the playoffs. Into number 3, I got the Green Bay Packers. I feel like this might be the best defense Aaron Rodgers has had since his early days with this team. And this type of defense does play in the playoffs, especially as cold as Lambeau Field is. And Aaron Rodgers is still a superstar quarterback. So on any given Sunday, he can make plays with any other quarterback in this league. And with that defense seeming like they're finally an elite defense too, I think the Packers are just as good as any team in the league and possibly winning a championship this year. Fast forward into number 2, I got the New Orleans Saints. With Drew Brees back, they have an elite defense. They have an elite running game. And then you now factor in Drew Brees is one of the best quarterbacks in NFL history. And Sean Payton is one of the best coaches in NFL history. You put that all together, this is one of the best teams in the game, bar none. They're one of the most talented teams, one of the most complete teams, one of the most best ran organizations, top to bottom, from quarterback all the way up to GM, in between coach. So they definitely have as good as any chance of any team in the league to win it all this year. Might be as good as any team in the league, hands down. But then number 1 is hands down, and just a little click above probably everybody else, is the New England Patriots. They might have had now the best defense in probably 10 years since the early years with the Brewskis and the Varabals and the Richard Seymours. This defense is that kind of defense. Many say Gilmore is the best corner in the game right now. He's playing at a defensive player of the year level. And Tom Brady is still one of the best quarterbacks to ever do it. He's the most winningest playoff quarterback to ever do it. And with this kind of defense in the playoffs and him just having to get a drive here and there, it might be impossible to beat this year. And that would be my top 5 Super Bowl contenders. What you think, boys?
Okay. Let me see that. Seahawks, Mouze, Packers, Saints, and Patriots. I like. And what was your honorable mention?
Baltimore Ravens.
Baltimore Ravens. Yeah. Okay. That's a solid list. I think those are some of my top numbers there, but I think I would have the Chiefs rather than the 49ers up there. In my opinion, just to the fact of the way how the Chiefs defense have been it's been going slowly, but it has been working, and I've seen that they've been getting more pressure. They've gotten to a lot of the last few quarterbacks. They stopped Lamar Jackson. They stopped the Packers. They played good teams, and their starting quarterback still being out, and him probably would have come in return with probably the next few weeks. So, and I see them probably coming back to that powerhouse. Tyreek Hill is just now getting back, and he's probably the number 1 wide receiver in that team, and they still got Sammy Watkins and Tyreek Hill, and a good core. So I think that's another team that should probably be a real big defender coming out that team.
I mean, I thought about the Kansas City Chiefs. I definitely thought about the LA Rams. I know those two teams have had a high prospect for this year.
Mm-hmm.
But my reason for leaving the Chiefs off, and I do know with the defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo, he had started very slow with the Giants, and then that defense became a lead on the back end. They actually stopped the undefeated Patriots. So I do know sometimes with his defenses, this is his first year, they're a little slow to actually catch on to his schemes and the implementation of his strategy. So I definitely think they are a worthwhile team. I just don't believe Patty Mahomes will be right again this season. And I think that's the part that kind of makes these 6 teams a little bit above them. And with the LA Rams, it's the same sort of thing. I just don't think Todd Gurley will ever be right again this season. And I think he's the key to whatever that comes.
As long as he's playing it off.
Yeah, so that just kind of holds those kind of teams out to
That's true. That's a good point to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would also put the Colts because when that's a will is away.
The Colts, they actually a very talented team. Brissett looks like he can actually win some playoff games and build for the playoffs. I could also say the Bills, being one of the best defenses in the league, they could win some games.
I always got to put in my Colts.
You never know.
I mean, that's very true. You never know.
Brissett looks like he can make plays against the pressure.
That's true.
That's all you need is a quarterback that you don't have to worry about.
Remember, it's only one game.
Exactly.
They go by that saying that the 1-0. It's 1-0.
Eli Manning.
Exactly.
Also, you want to go ahead with your next point?
Which one should I go into? Okay. I would like to talk about the Browns team as a review. I felt that the Browns this year was me and you spoke about it a lot about how I felt like they're either going to be 6-10 or 10-6, depending on how certain games go.
Correct.
And it was when you seen the team when you always spoke about the last few games of the season, they played against subpar teams and some teams that were
not playing against the top of the competition.
Exactly.
They weren't playing against division.
Exactly. So I thought in this there was a lot of expectation with a person as Freddie Kitchens coming in, and you're not seeing, and you're just assuming that it's going to be winning football, and and the numbers shows why it's not being winning football. I know you like numbers, so I got a little bit of numbers. They're in the bottom 10 in third down conversions. If you can't create third down conversions, you can't win.
That's for sure.
If you're top in penalties, you can't win. If you're losing in interception to touchdown ratio, you can't win. If you're losing the turnover game, you can't win. So it's this obviously we see the stars that they always proclaim. They got the Jarvis Landry, Nick Chubb, And it's like it doesn't matter of the players who's on a team. It's the coaching staff. It's if you can put your team in a position to win, then
Yeah, I think the quote that I use a lot is Bill Belichick says, "No good talent can overcome poor coaching."
mm-hmm.
And I think that's one of the greatest quotes for probably the greatest coach in the game.
Yeah.
And I think unfortunately, we was more hopeful than we was logical with the Browns. I think we was more excited for what the possibilities were, and then kind of look at the fine print.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when we now look at the fine print, we look at the last 7 games last year. They were headed by Greg Williams. One, he's a defensive first coach. He had the defense actually creating a lot of turnovers. Then number 2, they didn't play against any particularly good teams. They beat the Bengals twice during that particular run. They beat the Falcons, who were particularly in a good space in their careers.
You fired your coach mid-season, it's just.
And Freddie Kitchens had only called plays for that back half of the year. He was actually like a receivers coach, I believe.
So there's expectation that
so in his first year, really calling plays and even being the head man at any level, we expected him to take a highly highly characterized team with a lot of personalities and be able to sort that after a year after firing the head coach. And that was there had no culture. There wasn't a culture here winning before with Hugh Jackson. So the idea of you now bringing in one of his assistants or one of his positions coach to become the head coach the next season is going to change and flip around. I think if they really wanted to keep the continuity, they would have kept Kitchens as the offensive coordinator and kept Greg Williams as the head coach. That was the only kind of thing that would have made sense if you wanted to keep what was going on at the end of last season into this season. The idea of going with Kitchens over Greg Williams, I think, is where the problem started. But we was hopeful because Baker Mayfield supported him. And now we see the regression of Baker Mayfield because he's trusting in somebody that's a little bit over his head, most likely.
And they've been having so much negative energy has been around that team a lot. Like they've been saying that he's been disrespectful. I think in one report they were saying that because he told the reporter a stupid question or something that he walked off. Right. So it's and then they showing you seen Odell Beckham getting frustrated where it's like he's complaining, I don't want the ball. As long as I really haven't been hearing that they're saying that he's being dramatic or nothing like that. I don't think he's doing nothing crazy. If he doesn't have the ball in his hand and you're losing, well, of course you're gonna complain. If they're winning the game,
and that's his job.
You know what I'm saying? It's just I was watching the part of the game this week. There was a route where he just wide open running off the run and he forces it on a 4th and 4 down the middle instead of trying to reach it down to Odell. He's your best player on offense. If you need something done, isn't that the person you would go to?
I can't say what some of these play calls were, what transpired in the field. I just feel like if, let's say this was Andy Reid was the head coach of this team, we had a better chance of seeing this team being one of the division leaders and really challenging the Ravens for that division right now.
And it's open to them right now. They can take it. The Steelers
If they had a Mike Tomlin being the head coach of this situation. Mike Tomlin on the low is really coach of the year right now.
Yes, it is.
He lost Antonio Brown, Martellus Bryant, Le'Veon Bell, and Ben Roethlisberger, and they are 4-4. That's impressive. That's impressive.
Very true. Very true.
Okay. So I'll get into my next one. I'll go into I have actually the New England Patriots as the best team in the entire NFL.
Yeah.
And I feel like they might have a legendary defense right now. What I've seen from New England this year is it goes back to the dominant years when I think Tom Brady was first starting to really become a Pro Bowl type of quarterback, and they had a lockdown defense. They had legendary defensive players: Richard Seymour, Teddy Bruschi, Roddy Harrison, I believe his name was. Ashanti Samuel, I believe was
Ty Law.
Ty Law, yes, those type of names. Troy Brown, Catapult.
Yeah.
This team resembles some of those teams, except Tom Brady is he's probably regressing back to where he was then, in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
But he's still a legendary quarterback. At any day, can be the best quarterback on the field.
Mm-hmm.
And you put that up with a amazing defense and a lot of playmakers around Tom Brady. Sony Michel, some of the other running backs they have there, the receivers, they have a ton of playmakers over there that work well with Tom Brady.
Yeah.
So I have them as being just bar none the best team right now in the NFL.
I think in any sense with the Patriots, you can always put them as number one in the NFL until someone likely takes them otherwise. Like I think the one that does, like you did mention, but there was the Packers. I think that is a good team. But as far as and then the Saints, always a competitive team, but for some reason they can never get out that NFC Championship game off of like last minute situation. For the past 2 seasons, for some reason something always happens to them.
Minnesota
Miracle, and then the no call. It's just I don't understand, but that's also another team I think that's very talented. But yet I think in all aspects of the game, I think the Patriots are because they dominate in special teams. When they need to, they dominate in special teams. They usually there's three tiers to the NFL. So offense, defense, special teams. They're normally 2 for 3, if not 3 for 3. So it's like that's what it's fair to always give them the sense that they're the best team in the NFL until Belichick retires.
Yeah, Belichick, best coach.
I think honestly, but I think I don't know, man. Well, yeah, it's hard to debate against. Let's pay Manning for.
I feel like that. So if I'm one of these other teams, like
I'm not saying they can't win. It's just like
trying to trade for Eli Manning,
bro.
Like even if I'm the 49ers, like
just play him in the Super Bowl.
Say Jimmy G gets hurt. If you could bring in an Eli Manning for the playoffs, Jesus,
that's the only way, because that's only like Nick Foles beat them.
Yeah,
but you gotta get has to be a situational.
One of those cold-blooded playoff ready quarterbacks.
Yeah,
it's only a handful of those at a time.
Yeah,
Eli, he's warming up. He's ready to go.
Oh, you know what? Brian Hoyer could do that shit. He's like 40. He's like the oldest player in college.
Oh my goodness. I just don't know how he's still in the league.
Oh yeah, he's pretty tough.
But I'm not gonna go into it. But what's his name? Not in the league. The number 1 pick that got a little bit big boned it up with the Raiders.
Oh, Clelin Ferrell?
Nah, yeah, it was the number 1 pick. Yeah, it sounded like a massive contract. They thought it was gonna be the next.
Oh, Jamarcus Russell.
There it is.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's still in his 20s. Why can't he get a job?
I don't think so.
Why can't he get a job? Man? Free my man Jamarcus.
I have so far in the middle of the season, I feel like the 2 most likely might be MV candidates right now. I know Christian McCaffrey's doing this thing. Lamar Jackson looking pretty good.
Shout out to the
it's good players. Defense really get it, so I'm not going to talk about them now. But I think the 2 people that's probably going to be the 2 in the contention of it is going to be Aaron Rodgers and Deshaun Watson. I think those 2 players right now are, or Russell Wilson too. I think it's a mention, but I just don't feel like. I feel like Aaron Rodgers and Deshaun Watson for the reason, and the reason why is because Aaron Rodgers, especially with. I got your numbers too.
I love numbers.
That shit.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers, he definitely always gonna have his hand in there, and they winning right now.
Yeah, because it's
Deshaun Watson seems like as long as he's healthy, he will seem like he'll always be in the MVP talks wherever he's playing football.
That's nice.
He seems like that type of player.
And I feel like Aaron Rodgers, especially because he may be coming from a comeback player of the year last year. So. The teams he played, those players are teams like the Bears, Vikings, Denver, and Dallas defense. And that team, he went 16-2. as far as touchdowns and interception ratio.
What's A-Rod?
A-Rod.
Okay.
Over 2,000 passing yards, 100 in QB rating. That's the highest he's had since 2014 when he won MVP. So I'm like, with the and with the play, so it's like the numbers is even shown like and with players around him, with Aaron Jones who's shown out like he's low key like having a great season, especially when what's that? Devontae Adams went down with an injury.
Playing a lot like Matt Forte.
Yeah, he's just like he's everywhere for him. Yeah. So it's like he's been playing very well, and I think that as the season progresses, I think he's probably going to continue on in that same pace and probably.
You should probably go after Antonio Brown. Oh my God, that would make a lot of sense.
That would be crazy.
I heard Dallas go ahead and make that move.
And then the next person who I think probably deserves it is Deshaun Watson.
Okay.
Reason being, he was the number one ranked quarterback out of high school, college, NFL. You explain this every single time. You spoke about it before. You spoke about it here.
Yes. On this podcast.
It's the best quarterback coming out of college.
This will cost Hugh Jackson his job by taking Myles Garrett over Deshaun Watson. Exactly. Somehow he fell to like 12.
Exactly.
He almost was MVP in his rookie season.
So, and because he only played 7 games after getting injured.
Oh, yeah.
Now, in this season, he is having the best quarterback rating thus far in the season. Less sacks since his rookie year, which is pretty much what he had. Well, I'm just saying by ratio, I calculated whatever. 16-5 touchdown ratio. I think he just had a banging game in London, so I think he's probably now topped that over 2,000 yards. He's probably leading now in yards. So, the fact of there was a play against the Colts where Justin Houston grabs him down for a sack. Mm-hmm. I'm a Colts fan. I'm glad the referees incorrectly called that play because that was a touchdown.
It was.
I can fairly admit that it was a touchdown. He was up.
Yeah, I was.
Because the following week against, I can't remember who, I think it's the Chargers. I'm not exactly sure who he was playing. I'm sorry who he was playing. But they grab him down for a sack. He evades the sack. It gets kicked in the eye where he can't even see. He has red eye. You go like Deshaun Watson's eye is red. And he throws a touchdown pass with one eye. He said after the play, he had to grab his face to see if his eyeball was still in there.
That's special.
I think just off of that alone.
That's special.
And right now, the person they trade for, Larry Tunsil, he's been playing well when he was there, but he hasn't played the last few games, and he still has been like he's kind of getting a good feel of that game. Like there was another game, I think it was against Cincinnati Bengals, where he lost the ball, bumped up, and he catches it and runs for a first down. The reason why I think he's maybe just have that edge over Aaron Rodgers because he can do with his legs just as well as his arm. And if not better with either or. Did you know that since Deshaun Watson has been in the league, he has scored 30, like he's played 31 games, he scored 31 touchdowns. He scored a touchdown every single game he's played in, either by running or throwing.
Yeah, I've seen that. Putting it, I'm proud of it. Coming into the draft, I made it clear that I think this is the best quarterback prospect we've ever seen. The fact that he actually was the 3rd quarterback drafted, I thought that was a mistake. Then after 7 games, I was heartbroken that he actually tore his ACL. But the fact that he's back again now, it's like him and DeAndre Hopkins make a wicked combination.
True.
And I love what Carlos Hyde is doing over there.
Yeah.
Bill O'Brien is doing a hell of a job coaching that team up. He bounced back from the J.J. Watt loss. And the loss of Javanian Clowney.
Yeah.
They are playing still very well. So I think they're one of those teams that again could quietly still win a championship because of Watson.
Yeah. But honestly, very, very true. Carlos Hyde was a very solid running back. He was playing Gucci in 49ers. They drafted him because they wanted a different regime. They moved him to Cleveland. Nick Chubb was balling, so they moved him there. So it was like Yeah, you can see that he's still talented. That's a good squad.
Very much, very much. So I'll continue on that line. My next point would be I got Russell Wilson for MVP. I do respect Aaron Rodgers. He has an excellent chance. He's been playing very efficient football. Of course, I feel like Deshaun Watson, anytime he's healthy, with 13 games out of that 16 game season, he has a chance to win the MVP every year. But for me, I can't deny what Russell Wilson has done this year. Like, nobody had expectations for the Seattle team coming into the season. As far as the media is concerned, as far as like a lot of our fans, nobody had picked the Seahawks to do anything this year. And even though the rookie DJ Metcalf has not had a huge season, Russell Wilson has just been amazing. Like,
he has like 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, he's made a few plays, but he hasn't been like what's the word, like game changing for Russell Wilson. He's been solid.
He was never supposed to be. I always knew from out of that state, like AJ Brown was the better of the 2 wide receivers. He's the one that went to Houston, and he was the better of the route runner. And don't think he was so. Metcalf just had the stat they could compare him to Julio.
I think he just had the combine.
Yeah, because it was 6 combine.
Nobody was really putting him in the first round.
He was just that main, like that person that helped them get worked out. Like he was that best that one.
The workout warrior.
Yeah,
did his thing in the combine, and people really posted him up. But he got a slap on the tape, and after the tape, he was looked at as about a second round receiver. Yeah. And after he dominated the combine, people thought he could be a lottery pick. Not so much.
No. I don't think he was that.
Russell Wilson, I can't deny it. I think he went the first 6 games without an interception. Something to that notion. His QB rating is through the roof. He continues to still run the football very efficiently without ever seemingly to ever get hit. And he just makes plays. Like, to me, he's like an advanced version of Tony Romo. And it's like he's continued to just be that sharp. And every game, the Seahawks have a chance. Like, and he makes clutch plays for like every Sunday. So right now, he's definitely my MVP, at least for the first half of the season. I have Russell Wilson as my MVP. I can't take nothing away from the way he's been playing football. I respect winning games.
I respect that. I like that we had that was like my top 30s. That's interesting. I was actually looking in towards my defensive players. I think for right now defensively, I like the way how Logan Ryan has been doing.
Defensive back.
Yeah, from the Houston, Tennessee.
Or Texans.
Tennessee.
Or Titans.
Titans, yeah.
Okay.
I said Houston, Tennessee. Tennessee Titans. Sorry.
Okay.
Logan Ryan, I've been watching some of his games. Like he's just been playing really good. I think it's 14 pass deflections right now this season, and that's a very high number. He's been playing against solid teams. 3 interceptions, 3 forced fumbles, 3.5 sacks. And some of these numbers are just insane of players of a caliber. You just think like, oh, Ryan just came out of nowhere. Matt Vrabel's defense is playing pretty solid, and I think because he that offensively, we just kind of forget with the whole Mariota situation, Tyler and stuff like that. But they've been playing very good. Also, other players have been playing silently good. Shaq Barrett with 10 sacks this season. He was just I forgot he got drafted by. I think that's what. No, not Derek Barnett. I think it was. He's drafted by somebody, but he's been picked. Yeah, picked up by Buccaneers this season.
Okay.
And he just started the season with 10 sacks, 3 pass deflections, and 4 forced fumbles. He's been having just one of these crazy seasons where he's people just been balling out here. They've just been quietly balling. Even from the LA Rams, Corey Littleton, very solid player. I know we look at players how they brought in Jalen Ramsey, that's been solid for them for getting rid of Akeem Talib and Marcus Peters, who went to the Baltimore Ravens, which I do agree that's an amazing trade for them. That just made that team just solid because they're getting a healthy back of Jimmy Smith. But Corey, and then also with the LA Rams, they brought in what's that guy from the Green Bay Packers? pass rusher. Clay Matthews.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, they brought in Clay Matthews. I think he's been injured the last few games. So it's like some type of injury. But he's been playing well, and Dante Fowler been playing well. But like the other person that's been like overshadowed is Corey Littleton. He's been playing. He has 68 tackles. Like just coming into the season, coming into week 9, 68 tackles, a sack and a half, one forced fumble, 10 pass deflections, 2 interceptions, 2 fumble recoveries. Like this is just stat numbering for like players that we just not even like noticing that are just balling out here that we just don't hear about. Like because we just think of like certain players, like even if your team, say for last, like Jamie Collins, like people forget that Jamie Collins was like the Patriots like top draft pick. He wanted more money. He got traded back to Cleveland, I believe it was. Stayed there for the last few years. He's back with the Patriots, and when he's back with the Patriots, the numbers he's putting up is 3 interceptions, 6 sacks, 7 pass deflections, 44 tackles, 2 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery, and a touchdown. It's like that's clearly looking like defensive player of the year right there numbers, and that's just like halfway towards the season.
I mean, he's doing well. The Patriots again, they have legendary defense this year.
I'm just like those are my options. Who probably I don't know maybe considered defensive player of the year, but I think they should be. It probably would be Luke Kuechly.
You never know how they're gonna go with
I'm
that.
just saying, Luke Kuechly knows always good chick. As long as he's playing, he's.
Well, I'm hearing a lot about Gilmore.
Gilmore, yeah.
He had a lot of love for it.
Yeah, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, the defensive end with the Vikings. He has a couple of.
Did they have that?
I believe so. He had like 4 sacks in one game, I think, against the Cardinals.
Oh man,
That's how it was. But his name should be up there. Yeah, a lot of great defensive players. Speaking of great defenses, my next point is I have the 49ers, San Francisco, and the Baltimore Ravens are built for future dominance. I think these two teams are set up for the next 3 to 5 years to just be an elite team year after year after year. Similar to like the Patriots and the Colts were during the Peyton Manning and Tom Brady eras where you just knew these teams were going to be penciled in every year to be over double digits in wins. Even during like the Phillip Rivers eras with the Chargers, every year you knew they were going to be double digits in wins. And I think both of these teams are set up for that for the next 3 to 5 years with Jimmy G in the elite 49ers defense. And then with Baltimore, Lamar Jackson, I think the Ravens defense has now been enhanced enough that where they're going to be elite going forward still. Mm-hmm. And now they have the quarterback that they're going to put the ball in the hands of to make plays and grow up and to give them a chance to win the Super Bowl. So that's like I like the GM with the 49ers. I think John Lynch. I remember seeing him play. I think he is making a lot of great decisions. I think he's done a good job building it up. I think the coach, Kyle Shanahan, is an excellent coach. Comes from good roots. He was already in the Super Bowl as a coordinator, so I think he's built for it. And on the other side, with Harbaugh, with the Ravens, the way that team has been built up by Ozzie Newsome before he got out of there, before he retired, I think they're well set up themselves with the right coach, the right system, the right team in place to be successful for the next 3 to 5 years. That's kind of how I kind of see it.
Yeah, that's true. Their defense is really set up. I like how they brought in for the 49ers, how they brought in Richard Sherman to further mention that defense with Tart, leadership, and all those Toronto Alexander. The defensive coordinator was named Robert Saleh. I like his how he's so animated on that sideline. So you can show like that team got like a lot of spirit in it. So and that Ravens team that I think be 2 dominant defenses for the time to come. I also would like to put in the Buffalo Bills. That defense has been dominant for a long time with Leslie Frazier as a defensive coordinator. Okay. He's been very, very solid with that team.
This is my question with the Bills, where I can't see them. I'm not sold on Josh Allen at all.
Oh, I just meant defense.
But teams being down, I think.
Oh, well, you said team. Oh, sorry. Yeah, but in the sense of teams, but yeah, that's true.
think Jimmy will be a star. Like,
there might be some firing going over there. It might be
Josh Allen. I think he's getting it.
Yeah,
like he kind of like a Cam Newton meets Jake Plummer.
I won't bet on it yet. So yeah, I go.
So it's like maybe like the next 8 games he plays the way he did the first 8 games. Then I would definitely say the Bills. They will be in that pot too. But yeah, I'm not sure yet about Josh Allen. Not sure. And that's my team now. So shout out to the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, I respect it.
Bills Mafia. I'm well with it.
Bills Mafia. Buffalo K. Copy.
Shout out to Jay Allen. We had it.
This is the number 5th one, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so for my last one, I'll say the best for last. I feel like I don't want to really take a shot at the Browns too much today, but I'm just saying that the Colts should have had that same, like the way how they rolled up the Browns. That's the way they should have rolled up the Colts. This is not coming out of nowhere. This is talent that's been showing for the past 2 years, that's been growing and making. Like right now, they're still in the middle of the defense, still building through. That defensive coordinator may or may not be here for next year. Don't quote me on it. I'm just saying because he was brought in before Frank Reich. Okay. He was on that signed with the Josh McDaniel deal, and it was him and the offensive lineman coach. Offensive lineman coaches have already been fired and replaced. So that was because that was situation because with the offensive lineman, whatever, blah blah blah. But either way, that person's been replaced. Offensive coordinator Nick Sirianni, I think he may be coming up for head coaching jobs this season because what he's been doing with this offense, what he's been doing with offenses the past few years. He played with the Chargers, and now back with Frank Reich. They did work together. They've been doing crazily great here, especially with their running game. Marlon Mack, I've been saying that he's I always thought he was a pretty solid player. Like I thought he's like a Shady McCoy in a sense. He got like those moves where I just like. Where I think he's top in first down, making first down runs, rushing for first downs. So it was like for some reason he just has a nose for making positive plays. Every game this season has been decided by 7 points or less. This is like at any given time we're in it. Like I would like to see it's kind of making a heartbreaking game every single time. But it's just the fact of even with games where you feel like they're out against the Chiefs, they made teams like the Chiefs down to 13 points. You play against Deshaun Watson, who I feel like is one of the solid players. They kept them down to low points, low yardage. So it's like that team is slowly getting there. And with that off-season acquisition of Justin Houston, it's just been amazing.
He played, up to his name.
Yeah, and it's crazy that for the cheapness how they got him for, and then with the young talent of Darius Leonard and
Malik Hooker.
Oh, my boy Malik Hooker. Kari Willis.
Desir.
Oh, my boy, my cousin. Ben Banagu. Kamoku Toure. He just went on IR. This boy could play the whole season. It's very talented. I think he had 4 sacks before he went in IR at the beginning of the season. So I feel like this team, Frank Reich should probably be in nomination for Coach of the Year as well. He's probably gonna win. I think top players gonna get it anyway, but I think he's a good candidate for being Coach of the Year. The Colts, I feel like with all aspects, have just been playing well football. I feel like also in this season, they will be going for a quarterback. I do like Jacoby Brissett. I think he's a talented quarterback. I think he plays it the game right, but for some reason, I just watched some of their game where, you know what, he's still a young player, so I don't want to criticize. So, then again, that is still my team, so I'm not going to criticize. But sometimes we want to go down the field. But anyway, I feel like this Colts team is on the rise, and it's been really showing. I think they've been playing against good teams and have been showing to do.
I do agree. I think that the Colts have defensively definitely been improving through the draft. They've done an excellent job in bringing in Justin Houston. I think was a good off-season pickup. He's been playing good football.
Yes.
Marlon Mack has definitely become a playmaker. Something of the ilk for me of Curtis Martin. Looks like he will be that way for a long time. He knows how to get away from the big hits.
Yeah.
But he also knows how to run in between the tackles, something like a Le'Veon Bell a little bit.
Yo, man, this boy is solid.
So they do have some talent all around the board. They have some nice young receivers.
Zach Pascal, Paris Campbell. He was the fastest kid in the combine. Between him and Miracle Hardman out of the Kansas City Chiefs, they both run. They're like Tyreek Hill speed. So it's like and that's the type of team that Frank Reich likes. Like everybody with speed. This is eventually you have to catch them. And if everybody can run, when it comes down to the fourth quarter, can you keep running? Oh man, I love it. I love it.
They have a nice future in front of them.
I love it.
See how the rest of the season goes. Hope the set continues to mature and develop.
Yeah.
Definitely see how that goes for the Colts this rest of the season.
Yeah, man.
My last point to kind of end this off on the mid-season report. I have quietly Lamar Jackson looks like he's the best player in the NFL. Again, for me, it's I think some people look at Lamar Jackson through the lens of just a quarterback. I'm familiar with the old school of some of the greatest quarterbacks ever, such as like a Joe Montana, a Steve Young. They were running quarterbacks. Like, don't get it mistaken. They put up quite a few yards with their feet, scored touchdowns with their feet, and put fear in defenses because they could run the football, but also could throw the rock. But it took them years to actually develop their throwing aspect, whereas they could always run the football. And Lamar Jackson is just like a Steve Young or a Joe Montana in that sense. Dominated with running, but also put up big passing numbers in college. So this idea that he couldn't throw was like, no, he's just way more advanced as a runner. He's a special runner. But he's more than a capable thrower. Like, you wouldn't look at Ryan Tannehill like he's not a good thrower. But Lamar Jackson is a better thrower than Ryan Tannehill. He's just now probably a more deadly running back than a lot of their starting running backs across the league. He's just up there with some of the best running backs. Maybe could make people miss, like Saquon Barkley. He's that talented of a runner. Then you throw on top of it, you can throw down the field with anybody. He has that powerful of an arm. He can throw from different angles. When he matures and gets to his prime, I think he'll be the most special player in the NFL. And I think when I scouted him before, he looked to me like a right-handed Mike Vick that actually was 5 years pro in college. That's how he looked to me. Michael Vick in his 5th year. And at that time, Mike Vick was the best player in the league. Right before he had his unfortunate situation with the dogfight. So, where I see Lamar Jackson right now, I like Patty Mahomes. I know a lot of people think Patty Mahomes is the guy. Patty Mahomes has a big arm, similar to Phillip Rivers for me. Lamar Jackson is Steve Young. It's a little different. So I'm saying that's my last point. Lamar Jackson.
I think that's a very solid point there because he's a real dual threat.
Yeah.
Very true. That's very, very true.
So that was our NFL mid-season change of pace report. We broke it down into 10 different factors and points in the first half of the NFL season. We'll see who actually continues to play well, who doesn't. We'll recap later on for the season and give you some more breakdown how the NFL season was coming from the most objective, unbiased,
very true,
knowledgeable and informational, bringing alternative views on the sports landscape.
That's very flexible.
With Change of Pace Sports.
Yeah.
Again, I'm your host, K. It's your co-host, Mouze. See you again.
We'll see you next time. I really wonder if the Cincinnati Bengals gonna go 1-16.
Yeah. Bengals probably gonna be sucking all year.
I don't know, son.
So we'll see about
they
that.
They play the Jets and the Dolphins. That's the only two easy teams. If they can beat them, but if they don't beat them,
I don't know, man. Like,
they bench Andy Dalton, AJ Green might leave.
Yo,
Joe Mixon is nice, bro.
Trying to say that from draft night. I don't know what happened to that kid, but AJ Green on my fantasy.
You know, it's the unfortunate situation.
Like that. I drafted AJ Green. Man. That's hurting.
Yeah. I think they starting a rookie too. He named Ryan Finley. He's not too bad, but I'm just saying.
But I need AJ like that. I thought he was gonna get traded to the actual. It's like the Patriots or something. Got so excited. Like he might go to the Chargers. Like, oh, this is gonna be crazy. Then he stayed with the Bengals. Like this is the bench Andy Dalton. Like, oh, no.
Yo, Andy Dalton was actually having like pretty good numbers
every year. Yeah. Like I mean,
try something different.
Like that's your.
I would like to see who try something different. Even though like whatever.
Like Jared Goff is moving.
I would like to see the Chargers bench Rivers for Geno.
No, that's not happening.
I know it's not going to happen, but I would like to see it.
Yeah, that's why the Jets. Again, unfortunately, this is where I'm at the end of that. Like, the Jets are going to continue to struggle till they actually clean out house and bring in an actual new situation all one time. New GM, new coach, one situation. They both agree. They both had the same understanding because they messed up. Go all the way back and start where they messed up at.
Oh man!
You drafted Mark Sanchez. That was fine. That was good. 2 years in, Mark Sanchez had you knocking on the door of a Super Bowl. And then y'all want to get crying in your feelings about him slipping on a cold field and hitting his linebacker in the butt. Like, that's what y'all want to actually act like his career was about?
3 years done.
Like, this guy won the most road games in playoff history for a while for a young quarterback.
Beat the Patriots and the Colts.
Like, to a dominant, iconic teams he beat. With Rex Ryan, Darrell Revis Island time. Anyway, move forward, right? Y'all draft Geno Smith when you still had Mark Sanchez there going into his fourth season. That was just unnecessary. You had your franchise quarterback. You had no reason to bring in Geno. You wasted that draft pick when you had other star players in that draft position. Then, you have him hurt in an unnecessary game. Mark Sanchez gets hurt. Geno comes in. Geno's so promised. Geno is a starting football quarterback in the NFL. That's what a starting quarterback would look like. He's better than Andy Dalton. He's better than Ryan Tannehill. But unfortunately, because he hasn't lived up to, I guess, first-round draft pick status in New York, he's been labeled a bust. He's been labeled a washed-up clipboard holder. Whatever you want to call it. That's where you messed up at. You had no reason to let Ryan Fitzmagic start over Geno Smith. Ryan played well. Ryan was a lottery pick also. He was a 10th pick in the draft. He didn't work out. He's been on, I believe, 9 different teams. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, he's a good quarterback. He's going to give you, signs and flashes of brilliance, but he's also going to go consistently...
he's a journeyman.
Consistently...
he's always going to be a journeyman. He's gonna show why he's a journeyman.
Correct. And you made the mistake. Y'all somehow decided out of training camp because of, gets punched in the mouth, that Geno Smith didn't deserve to get his job back because Brandon Marshall felt a better rapport with Ryan Fitzmagic. It's like, look, that's why the rest of that season didn't work out. You tried to run it back with Ryan instead of going with Geno Smith, who's a young franchise quarterback. And Geno ended up with the Giants. McAdoo lost his job because he realized in practice that Geno Smith was playing better than Eli Manning. He benched Eli. Geno played 1 game in San Francisco. Played alright, he didn't play great, didn't play bad. All of a sudden everybody lost their mind, decided that Eli has to go back in there. And we never seen Geno play again since then, basically. And again, back to the point of this was, Jets again made a bunch of mistakes. Yeah, drafted Sam Darnold, when again Lamar Jackson was there. Lamar Jackson put up 2 straight years of over 2,000 yards passing, over 1,500 yards rushing that no other quarterback has ever put up in college history. He was a Heisman Trophy potential winner every year he was in college. This is no surprise that Lamar Jackson is dominating the NFL. He was just dominating AAA in the college level.
It doesn't, yeah.
And then you go with Sam Darnold, who's Mr. Turnovers.
Oh, man.
Okay, so all right, now Sam Darnold a year or two is struggling, and fans are saying that Adam Gase is the wrong selection. Of course, Adam Gase is the wrong selection. When did Adam Gase ever was a head coach that showed that he actually developed a young quarterback? You should have went with Mike McCarthy. But you go with Adam Gase, and now you wonder he just struggled with Ryan Tannehill.
I think his only two people he's ever had best was Jay Cutler and Ryan Tannehill.
And again, Jay Cutler was considered a superstar arm talent. It didn't take much of a coordinator to try to be able to utilize that kind of talent. No, not.
But my also thing is the Jets fired their GM coming into the season.
Weeks into opening day like that. Okay, so again, my last point is the Jets will not be good for a while.
But they say you can't fire owners.
But this is the NFL. If you bring in the right GM with the right head coach, it could turn around one season. The Jets have talent like every other team has talent.
Yes, it is.
They're 1 or 2 players away, 1 or 2 coaching changes away from being just as good as the Patriots. But you would probably need Belichick. You probably need Robert Kraft. Don't see that changing. But hey, go Jets, right?
Oh, almost had Belichick at one point.
Oh, they did. He was on the staff.
Jeez.
He was the head coach, and then he decided, like, I'm faxing and I'm leaving. Look, yeah, I had Belichick in your hand. I gave that up.
That's a fact.
You had a bunch. You had Rex Ryan. Like, you had no reason to fire Rex Ryan. You had no reason to fire Todd Bowles. But hey, the Knicks do this too. It's a New York thing. I understand.
That's true.
But again, it's Changing Pace Sports.
It's been a pleasure, you guys.
We'll catch you guys later on in this year as we continue to give you the most objective, unbiased, knowledgeable, and informational providing takes in the sports world. Changing Pace Sports. I'm your host, K. With your co-host, Mouze.
All right, boy.
Peace.
You're...
Sit